Hi, I'm Kristin Davis, and I want to know, are you a Charlotte? So today, everybody, is a special, special day on Are You a Charlotte? The one and only Kyle MacLachlan is here joining us to talk everything Trey and Charlotte.
Thanks. I brought the cardboard baby. It's just outside in the hallway.
The cardboard baby's not allowed.
No, not allowed in this room.
Not allowed.
So happy to be here.
But
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for being
here. I can't
here.
wait to get into everything.
Oh, it's a fun conversation, you guys. Kyle has an amazing style and home decor.
Thank you very much.
I got some really good advice from Kyle back in the day.
Oh, remind me what I said to you. Did I say something really good?
I had a really, really old apartment, Upper West Side, pre-war. And
beautiful.
Yeah, and I said, I don't know, there's like wires coming out of the walls, and I don't know. And you said, you need an alabaster sconce that's appropriate to the time, and this is where you go to get it. And I still have them. I love them. I don't have anywhere to put them now,
yeah,
but
right,
I still
right. You still have them. You save them.
Because they're gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a beautiful light that comes out of there. It's very very flattering light.
Very warm light.
Warm and soft.
I know.
Yeah. Makes us look good like the lighting you have here. It's warm and soft.
I know. I feel strongly about lighting.
It's important.
Right?
Oh, my God. And the older we get, the more important it becomes.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I love about your hair. I like your hair is kind of like creating like a beautiful halo around your face.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I have it.
Yes. You still have a ton of it.
I got a lot of hair. It's a little different color.
I know, but wasn't it that color then too? And you were...
I've been coloring my hair I started going gray in my 20s.
Which is so crazy.
Crazy.
Is it hereditary?
Yeah.
Is it in your
family?
family?
My mom, she was totally gray in college.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did she just wear it?
Well, my mom changed her look many, many times. So she colored her hair, and then she had a wig phase, and then the whole thing. It was that was the 60s and 70s,
right.
It was all about that.
Right.
It was kind of up-style blonde,
Got it.
She was very, very in the small town of Yakima. She was very fashion
amazing.
I guess fashion aware, not fashion forward necessarily, but fashion aware.
That would be hard.
In Yakima.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure. But I remember at the time that we were on the show, we would talk about your hair and how, would you ever be able to just be your natural gray self? Yeah. And now you are.
And now it's happened.
I love it.
It's happened.
Yay.
I gave up.
And you're embracing it. I think it's fantastic.
Thank you.
And you went and walked in the Vogue world.
Yes. Yeah. The other night. That was really fun.
Was it?
That was really fun. Yeah. It was, Baz Luhrmann did the whole thing, and it was just so beautifully realized, I thought. And a meshing of fashion and the fashion world, of course, and all of the designers that they chose for the films. Yeah. And it was really great. And it was huge.
Big.
There's so many people. There were over 140 people walking in the show.
Good Lord.
Yeah. The hair and makeup room alone.
I can't imagine.
It wasn't even a room. It was they had a soundstage.
Wow.
Filled.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild.
Did you film it?
I did a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
That's interesting.
I felt a little not uncomfortable, but I don't want to invade. Everyone's getting ready. And I was like, it's not really the time you want to
That's a good point.
That's
a good point.
So I did it kind of wide and sort of vague.
But that's interesting. I think that's really interesting. Yeah.
It was cool.
I would like to be there. That would be interesting. Though I would not want to walk in that thing. I am not that brave.
Oh my
God.
Oh, you just walked down the street.
Really?
Yeah, it's on Paramount.
It feels like that?
Yeah, you just walk down and there's people from the other side. They're cheering you on. You're like, hey, man, nice to see you. Nice to see you. It's very positive. Fun.
I think you're you've walked in shows before and things. You've done a lot of things I have not done. I feel like
the time is now.
The time is now for sure. But also, I think you have to know your wheelhouse or whatever. I don't know that that's mine.
Oh, I would not discount that at all. I would say that you would fit right in.
That's very
sweet.
It
would be perfect.
Kyle. Thank you. I don't know. I feel like you have had, in some ways, many different careers, but maybe it's just different eras. Do you know what I mean? And you always kind of had one foot in fashion and design.
Yeah, I like all of that. And I've been able to I was able to manifest it at a certain time. And it sort of stays around. That was one of the pleasures of doing this Vogue World was I got to see people that I hadn't seen, for over 20 years.
Amazing.
Yeah. So some of the makeup and hair people that I remember, and Anna Wintour was there, and it's nice to see her again. And I see her occasionally out and everything, but within the confines of the fashion element, it was really fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's go back in time.
Let's go back in time. Do we need to do anything special? Is there a music cue?
No, we're lo-fi. We're
Okay.
lo-fi. We just go back in our minds.
I like that.
Just come with me as
Okay.
much as you can. There's your coffee. That's going to help.
This is going to help me go back in
It's going to
time.
help fuel the memories,
I
right?
can tell you that right now.
I do think there was a lot of coffee going on in our sets because we were working all night.
Oh my gosh.
Working all night.
Oh my gosh.
All the time, right?
Mm-hmm. And it was mostly you and me. That's what some people ask me. They say, "Hey, what was it like, with all the girls and everything?" And I was like, I don't know. I worked with Kristin and we did our thing, and then I would come out and and I'd see somebody else walking around, and John Corbett would be there in his pink slippers and fuzzy slippers and whatever bathrobe he had on,
whatever
Hey,
kooky
man,
thing he had
you're
on.
up, that was kind of the way it was.
But you know what I did remember too, and I mean I want to talk about when you first came, but what I did remember because I was watching last night, right? Because you were coming,
right?
And I do my best to be really disciplined about the rewatch because I haven't rewatched these things in 30 years, right?
Yeah.
So it's I try to rewatch right before I'm going to come talk to whoever it is. But with us, that we had so many episodes and it's a whole big storyline.
Yeah.
And I just fell down the rabbit hole and I was just watching and watching. And then I was like, I've got to go to sleep. But it's so good.
Yeah.
It's really held up. Like, have you rewatched it?
I haven't rewatched it, but I remember it being good at the time. I thought the one of the strengths, in particularly our stuff, was let's say the conceit of what was happening was funny and embarrassing. I'll be honest, but at the same time, they gave us a chance to deal with it in a fairly educational and understanding, and
I think so
the
too.
approach was
non-judgy,
non-judgy.
right?
Yeah, exactly. And we they mined the humor of it, but it was definitely something that was. I think it had a deeper. There was a deeper thing going on there, which I really appreciated.
Definitely. Did they tell you when you came? Because this is what I remember. I remember that I knew this was going to happen, right? That this storyline was coming.
Yeah.
We didn't know it would be you, of course. And the original plan that I knew that Charlotte was going to, be hell-bent on getting married, which made sense for her, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I would, had my books and my different things, and I remember that being very challenging for me because I don't really subscribe to that or whatever. But I know there are people who do. Exactly. I had to do my research and get the books ready.
Yeah.
And then I knew that you were going to come, whoever you would be, Trey, and that she would get what she wanted, but then it wouldn't work out. And I didn't know why, right? And I didn't know who it would be. And at that point, we had just started to get the significant guys, like Eigenberg was there.
Yeah.
We already had Chris, of course, from the beginning, but then Corbett had come. And, Sarah Jessica was involved, and I think Cynthia was involved in Eigenberg. And so I thought I might get to be involved. Then Michael Patrick went to a picnic one weekend and met you. Do you remember this?
I don't remember him at a picnic.
You were at some picnic.
Okay.
I don't
sounds
know.
odd.
He comes to work Monday morning and he's
Okay.
like, I've got your guy. And I was like,
wow.
what? Wait, I don't get to meet him? I said, who is he? He said, Kyle MacLachlan. I was like, oh, okay.
You're
No
like,
complaints.
yes.
No complaints. I'm very excited. That was how it happened. I said, what happened? And he said, I went to this picnic and he was there and I just couldn't stop thinking about how perfect he'd be, and he was so charming.
so
and
nice.
do you not remember this?
MPK, no,
Yeah.
I don't remember the picnic, but I do remember the meeting that I had with he and Jenny Bix.
Oh, got it. So you did have an official meeting.
We did,
Okay.
we
and
did.
what did they say to you?
Well, the things that stood out to me, and this is a long time ago.
Right.
I think it had been presented to me like, come, join the cast of Sex and the City. And a little bit of a descriptor, like he's from the Upper East Side. He has kind of a strong mother. He is a heart surgeon. He's athletic. And at that point in my career, I was like, this is perfect. I said, because I've been playing Agent Dale Cooper, and I've been playing, somewhat eccentric, sort of oddball characters.
Not romantic characters.
Not really
either.
romantic characters.
Yeah.
And I said, this is a great opportunity to finally, tap into that, because I've been kind of pigeonholed. And so I was really excited at the meeting. And I came, and I think it was at the Regency, I think.
Oh, wow.
I think it was on the hotel. Yeah, we went uptown.
Wow, okay.
And we sat down and we had, had coffee and stuff. And they were talking about the show and pleasantries, and Jenny was there. And And then so they sort of go into this thing, and I'm kind of excited at talking about, I think he's a guy who spends time in Central Park, he's probably, there'll be some surgery stuff, and I was like, all this kind of stuff going on, and they were like, yeah, fine. And they said, but the two things. He said, one, he's got kind of an unusual relationship with his mother. She's got a domineering, so he's got a very close, and he's impotent. And I was like, he's impotent. I was like, and I'm there like this, and I'm smiling, and I'm like, just when you think you're going to get out, they pull you back in. And I was like, I said, mother.
Yeah.
F.
But I'm glad they told you,
But they
though.
told me, they told me. Yeah. And I was like, listen, it's a talented cast, talented writers. The show was incredibly popular. And I was like, I'm in. What am I going to do?
Thank God you were in. Thank God you were in. And then, do you remember? And I don't know exactly the specifics, but I feel like at some point, two things changed once you came. One was that I think originally you were only supposed to be like it was
a short arc,
right?
Yeah.
It was supposed to happen,
3 episodes or 6.
and
I
then
don't know
fall
what it was.
apart, right? Like quick.
Yeah.
But then we were like, no, we can't part with him.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
It extended, and I was so happy. Good choice of word. It extended. Sorry, I'm very sorry.
It's okay.
It's all right.
It's
good.
It's free here. Say
That's
what
good.
you
It's
want.
an R-rated podcast. It's all
it
good.
could be whatever.
It's the visual. But I was so happy because I was really enjoying my time and working with you.
Absolutely.
And the writing was exceptional.
So
and,
good.
It was funny. That was the thing. I mean, Trey treated it. He sort of like stiff upper lip. Sorry, that's another one.
Oh.
But he kept, he kept his sense of humor about
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
Frustrated, but and then dare I mention Frances Sternhagen, and what a wonderful person and actress.
Good. Yeah.
And so, I thought that relationship was also very funny and fraught with all sorts of,
so
just like,
interesting.
Yeah. Like, oh boy, this guy's in trouble.
Yeah.
But he was an interesting character. He was a complicated,
so great
complex
and unlike
character.
anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's also why, like in a way, you bring something, all of us actors have something that we bring, right? And for you, what I think you bring and why you had somewhat gotten, somewhat pigeonholed by Cooper because he was so amazing, right?
Yeah.
Because your relationship with Lynch
David,
was, everything was just worked so beautifully. And I mean, I watched every episode, I was a diehard, which I think when you came, I had to don't fangirl, because it's like embarrassing in a way because I've got to work with you and you've got to be Trey and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But in my mind, I'm like, Anyway, but I think you bring an intelligence, you bring a bit of a sweetness, which is kind of unexpected in someone so handsome. And then you do bring an eccentricity. And when you mix those things, it's a very unique mix.
Yeah.
And I feel like that works so beautifully with Trey.
Well, I think you're also talking about your character.
Thank you.
And you, because that mix of things is very, very, very there, right at the surface. And you have an extra thing, which I think is kind of wonderful, which I don't know if we ever spoke about this, but I feel like I said with Kristin, I said, I don't know if she realizes she's funny. I think she knows she's funny. If she's inadvertently funny, it's one of the great comedic qualities that you could possibly have, because I think there are a number of people throughout the history of film and television that you don't know kind of what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it's funny.
I do. Thank you. I mean, I think this is what I think about that in life, previous to like success, right? When you're just trying to act, which I've been trying to do my whole life. It was the kind of situation where, with guys, like if I was dating somebody, we got in a fight, they would laugh and I would be so mad. But like my comedic, because my feelings are so big, right?
Yeah.
That like I'd get very super animated and then they would laugh at me and I'd be like, stop laughing, I am serious.
Yes.
But they're laughing at me, right?
Yes.
And so like at a certain point you go like, well, that is interesting. It does hurt my feelings in the moment. But once we started the show, Jenny Bix, when she came on, she said to me, I didn't know if you were funny or not. I thought, well, she's really pretty and she's really nice and talented, but I don't know if she's funny. And then they wrote a scene in one of her first episodes where I I contemplate having a threesome.
Right.
And then it really is just the other two want to make out. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And they kind of push me off the bed.
And you're kind of like,
yeah, I'm like, oh no, you know, like very
right.
Charlotte moment, like she's trying something that's uncomfortable and it doesn't go right. And I kind of fall slowly off the bed, but I'm also trying to keep my skirt from riding up, which was really me, you know, right? Kristin, as an actress as well. Like,
what a great,
okay,
what a great choice.
And then she thought, oh, thank God, she's funny.
Oh, she recognized.
Right?
Yeah.
And then because they knew me, and I think because Charlotte had such an earnestness, which played to my strengths, right? So that I always knew as Charlotte that the way to make Charlotte funny was to really have deep feelings, to really invest, which I think is something that I think some young actors sometimes don't understand. Like they want to play it cool. Right. But cool is not really funny. Right. You know? Right.
I think that following the truth, which I think is what you're saying in terms of what's happening in the emotion is, and really believing it. And then kind of, it's like you turn the dial up one more tick.
Totally, yes.
You know?
Yes.
So it's not extreme, but it's enough to just people go, oh my God, that's hilarious.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's
and I
that
think
little
you
extra.
have that.
Thank you. It's that little extra. I appreciate that. I think you have
I've
that
always
as well.
admired that.
And I think we had it together so well. Like we were so well.
It was super dry, right?
Yeah.
Very, you know.
Well, you were super dry.
Yeah.
I'm not super dry. Do you know what I mean? But that's why it works.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When I watch us, I'm just kind of amazed. Like I don't know. And I've had amazing co-stars. Obviously, Evan's amazing, you know, who came later. Such a great actor. But like the ease, I don't feel like I have a different thing with him. And obviously it's been forever that we've worked together where like you kind of just know what each other's going to do in that way. And I didn't really feel that way with you. Like I wasn't quite sure what you were going to do in an exciting way, right?
Oh, cool.
Like in a way where you're like there,
right,
you know?
Right.
And I also think because the relationship was written so unusually, like that, it's not something that we've really seen before or since. Yeah. Right? And I think that's partly why, and I'm just going to leap in here because it's on my mind, partly why you didn't want to come on and just like that and wrap it up.
Well, it was partly that, because I feel when they came and presented an idea, and I was like, I see it. It's so kind of a one joke idea, right? And I was like, and I really felt, I felt like we had invested so much in this relationship, and I think culminating in that moment when I actually return and we do the photo because it's important to you.
So sweet.
Yeah. And I felt like, there's more here
than that.
I agree. And I was just like, and I felt like, because it would have been fun to come back.
I mean, we just really wanted you back.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
And I was like, this would have been great. Yeah. But I just felt like, and so I kind of, said, I'd love to hear an idea. Yeah. Not to insinuate myself into the show, but let's have a couple of episodes or something that has a little.
I agree. A beginning, middle, and an end. Not just like putting a finished. Like this is what it is. Yeah. Kaput. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. When I saw you at that party, I'm glad that I saw you at the party because I was so sad that she didn't come back. I was like, what do you mean he said no? Yeah. Like I was like, what? And of course I didn't hear any more, right? I just heard that you said no.
Yeah, you don't get the backstory.
No, right. So then I was happy when I saw you because it did make sense. And I also feel like people, like, because I wasn't ever rewatching, right? Because I felt like, well, I'm just going to live in the past if I just watch the show all the time, right? Yeah. So now I have a job where I get to rewatch the show, which is fun. Yeah. And it's also fun because people talk to me about it all the time and people talk about us in a very interesting way, which is not that they don't love Harry. They do. Yeah. And I think that people feel like that was the right thing for Charlotte. Yeah. But I think there's also like, whenever anything comes up and I put it on social media, I can't remember what I put on. Must have been a podcast related thing, but people start in the comments like, you shouldn't have given up on Trey or whatever. And then other people are like, of course she should have given up on Trey.
When Trey brings in the cardboard baby.
It's a problem, right? The cardboard baby is a problem because then I think I put I can't really remember, and I still can't remember every detail because there was kind of a lot.
Yeah, there was a lot going on there. It was kind of a blur, the end. And then we went through kind of the difficulties, and then there was the too much, you know what I mean, which people forget about that, and then it sort of ended. And I think in some ways, and I've never asked anyone, I said I feel like they had to end it somehow, right? Yeah. And they didn't know.
Yes, that's a good point. Well, because I think everything had gone off the track of the plan when you showed up. Because the plan also, and I don't know if you knew this, remember the boat that we go on this boat with Sarah Jessica and Chris?
Yeah.
I had forgotten that scene until I watched it. And then I remembered that the original idea was that you were going to be like a dud. And that everyone was going to be bored. In general.
Okay.
The short version of Trey was that Trey wasn't interesting. That Trey looked perfect.
Right.
And
but it was kind of
scenario was perfect.
Blank.
You know what I mean? Like the Upper East Side.
Oh, I
and
could
the surgeon.
never play that.
Exactly. Right. So you came, thus the plan changed, right? And obviously, I mean, I'm in that scene and you're telling the story of us meeting, and Carrie's like, I already heard this story 3 times, you know, on the voiceover, right? And you're telling it and I'm just laughing. I just think it's the best thing. But the original idea was that it would be like that couple that's super boring together.
Right.
And that everyone is like, oh God, who's going to go talk to the new husband?
Yeah, and tell him. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, nobody wants to
no one wants to be
engage.
stuck in the corner with the husband who's going to like yak your ear off about some boring something, right? But then you were you.
Right.
And so it didn't really work.
Okay.
Right? I mean, it kind of worked like that we were an annoying new couple.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Most new couples are pretty annoying.
Right. And I'm just giggling at everything you say. And I'm just like, yes. And then, you know, like it's a little over the top. And she's like, oh God, right? But that didn't last.
Yeah.
But that had been the original idea.
Oh, I didn't know.
See? Interesting.
Yeah. Amazing.
Well, I think it just had to go out the window when you showed up. And they had to shift.
Yeah.
And then they had to figure out what to do.
And then they had to figure out kind of how to end it. Yeah. And I still, to this day, because I said, why would I bring her a cardboard baby? I was like, this doesn't track for me at all. But I said, I understand it from the outside, like, oh yeah, he's like so off track or whatever, that he thinks that this is acceptable. And I said, well, do I play it that I'm clueless? And I said, I'm not clueless. Or do I play it that I'm deliberately trying to end it and being so kind of cruel?
Oh.
Do I play that?
Did they say yes?
No, this is me thinking to myself, how am I going to make this work?
Yeah, what'd you do?
So I finally just kind of didn't make any choice at all. I just kind of just said cardboard baby. And I just said, it's going to be, I don't know what it's going to be. It's so outrageous. I said, people are going to have any number of reactions to it. And I didn't really know where to place it.
Yeah. You know what I thought? What I thought, because in general, and I didn't get that far last night because I was like, I will be up all night watching the show.
Okay, that's all the way to the end. That would have been amazing.
Right, I know, it would have been amazing, but I would be very, very tired right now and probably not making full sentences. And I always thought I could always have you back too.
And I know that you would make that work as well. That would be perfect.
Sweet. I was like, he's not that far away. I could maybe make him come back. That's what I thought. But I think that the idea, at least from my understanding, and I also think about this in retrospect, like I can't remember how old I was at this point, like mid-30s. All of my friends hadn't started doing the fertility stuff yet. Later on, they all did, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, I do not know if I played this like right.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Because you remember, like, I'm trying and I want to try, and you're like, I'm tired. I don't want to try anymore. I want to play golf. That's what I remember as being the end. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like,
I don't remember that at all, but that's very funny.
I mean, it was painful and also
that's pretty harsh.
It's harsh.
That's enough to end it right there. We don't need a cardboard baby. Yeah.
Exactly. The cardboard baby, I felt like was like I felt like Trey was trying to be funny, like in a weird way. Like, I'm just going to try to make light of this because I don't know what else to do. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at that point, we were not on the same
choice, actually.
Yeah. And we were not on the same track. And you were just like, I'm going to hope that I can make this joke and that we can get on with it and just live a happy life. That's kind of what you wanted.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have known couples where the woman is just so like, you know, the baby thing can be all consuming, right? Like, fully all-consuming, almost to the detriment of the relationship. You know,
the pursuit of trying to
like you get like it's in your bones or whatever that you have to continue. Do you know what I mean? Even though it's hell, right? Like hell on earth. I mean, we probably all have friends who have gone through this.
Yes,
I certainly have. And the guy is just like miserable, and so miserable for the woman. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But there's nothing you can really do, right? Like once you've gone to the science, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's kind of what they wrote, but I think also, because I have talked to our women writers and I've said, like, I don't know if I really, like, I might have needed to be even more crazy than I was.
Just because of all the hormones and everything going on. Yeah,
like
sure.
How deep it can go. You know what I mean? They were like, no, you did great. Because I also think part of them, they didn't want us to really go.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Far. Yeah.
Like into a drama. Yeah. Like a hardcore drama of baby making with science. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's the tone of, following the tone of the show, which is really important.
Right.
That it's, that there's humor and fun, and there's like a little bit of a sadness here, or bittersweet, and then pop back into the humor. So
right.
It doesn't dwell in that area.
Right. And I think also dwelling in the IVF area is just like, it's like a whole other show.
Yeah, and how do you treat that with some humor? Because it's really
hard.
It's pretty serious.
No, it's pretty serious and hard. Right.
Yeah.
But I think that the idea was that Charlotte's down that road and fully committed. Yeah. And you're just like, I can't, I just can't. Yeah. That's what I thought it was. And that's just so disappointing for her.
Well, it's also hard for me just as a person, because I always feel myself as, I'm very supportive, but this would not have been that. I would not have been playing that side. And
because then it would have probably worked out. You know what I mean? And then what would we have done?
Yeah, and then we'd still be on the show. Still going.
Well, then you went on. You left us. You went on to do The Housewives.
Yes, I entered another world.
You did, and you stayed there a long time.
I was there. Well, here's the story on that. I was brought in the first season to be every season there's a one person that does the killer, the murderer, or whatever,
Yeah.
And so they brought me in, and Mark Cherry, the creator, was saying, here's the arc, and you're going to end up, obviously being the killer at the end, right?
No way.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. And I got in and I started working on where we were a couple episodes in, 2 or 3 episodes, 4 episodes. You can tell pretty early on how it's going, whether you feel great, comfortable, and this is wonderful.
Yeah.
Or it's kind of like, I'm going to get out of here. It's not working.
Of course, yeah.
And I was like, I went to Mark, I said early on, and I said, hey man, I'm having such a great time here. I love working with Marsha. I love everything. I love the fact that it's 10 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
I didn't say that, but it was like super convenient. And I was any chance that maybe talk to the writers or consider maybe keeping me around for a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. I didn't specify, I just asked. I said, what's the harm?
Right.
And he sort of looked at me and he said, no, let me go talk to everybody and see what they think. And he came back not long and said, we've got an idea. And they brought in Dixie Carter. She was my mom.
Wow.
Another one of those.
Interesting.
And she was actually the mastermind, and so she became the villain.
Smart.
Yeah, and I was like, that's so clever, because it added another layer.
Very clever.
Unexpected layer. So now I could be, potentially I was going to be the killer, but then it sort of fell to her. So it actually worked out.
Interesting.
And that was this, what was I on? Was I on the second season or third season? Second season? I think it's second season.
I have no idea.
And then I went for another like 6 years.
I know. When I looked at the dates, I was like, how is that possible?
Well, they ultimately ran out of stuff for me too. It was one of those things. The storylines revolve around the women, of course, and so that was the most important. And the men would sort of feed into the stories,
right?
But they couldn't. At a certain point in time, they were like, "Jesus, what are we going to do with this guy?" He's like stealing things, and he's running around doing. They have you do crazy things. It's one of the scary things about. It is one of the scary things about television, about getting a script week to week. And I don't know if you have this experience as well, but
on Melrose Place, I totally had this experience.
Like, okay, next script, it arrives and you see it on your desk and you look at it and you're like, oh boy, okay. And you open that first page and as you kind of look at it like this because you don't know what they're going to ask you to do.
Totally.
Are you going to be naked or are you going to be clothed? Are you going to
kill someone? Are you going to kill yourself?
An emotional breakdown?
Totally.
On page 17?
Yes.
Or, what are they going to have you do?
Yes.
And I was always a lot of trepidation,
I get it. Melrose, that's how it was for me big time because Darren brought me in and then Darren left. And once Darren left, he had thought that my character was a little bit funny, but then he left and they were like, we're just going to make her really mean and the villain and then crazy. And then, I was just like, oh my Jesus God. And then they were like, now you're going to die. And I was like, okay. I was upset because I was young, but I was like, I see that because you don't know what to do with me.
It's a double-edged sword because you have a job. We're so grateful. We're working. It's fantastic.
Yes.
But at the same time, you're like, we have no control.
Right.
Over
and
where
you have to try to make it work.
And you have to make it work.
And sometimes it just doesn't make sense. You're just like,
AKA cardboard baby.
Totally. That's funny that you felt that because I didn't know that you felt that.
Yeah, I was just trying to wrestle with it. Ultimately, the choice that you said, which is he's trying to make fun of something, but I said, is he that I was rankling at the cluelessness of
I get it.
But
I get
at the
it.
same time, I recognized, hey, they need to end it somehow. Why not? We'll go out with this because it's so unfeeling.
There's a lot of things where I have like crystal clear memory. Like I remember meeting you at the read-through.
Right.
Do you remember meeting me at the read-through?
No.
Interesting.
But I remember rescuing you that first scene in the taxi cab.
Yes.
That scene.
Where it falls down in the street.
Yeah, it was
it's
really
so good.
a lovely scene.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It really holds up.
Yeah.
It's so exciting.
Yeah, I like that. The way it was shot and everything about it looked really
beautiful.
It looked like a film, kind of.
It looked so much like a film. And I think it was Allison Anders directed. Can anyone check?
Wow.
If right?
That's good.
I know. But also, do you remember Charles McDougall who directed the Tiffany's?
Yeah.
And he's so brilliant. And one of the things that I love to look at when I look back at the show is the kind of evolution of the visuals. Because we really started out quite simply, you know, because remember we used to have people talking to camera, we break the fourth wall.
Right.
It was very kind of like a reportage, you know, like on the streets, you know, very unassuming in terms of like the shots, you know, just straightforward. And then it gets better and better and better. We start getting the Sopranos directors coming in and her dollying through the rooms, you know. Then we get Allison. Was it Allison? It's Allison Anders. Do you remember her?
Yeah.
She'd be like, baby, good job. Let's just do it again. She was like so warm and like mama and comfortable, but also she was like very indie filmmaker.
Yeah.
So she had a bit of a edge in her, the way she filmed things, which is what I liked about, like, because I'm with that husband of my friend, because I've gone to the married people. I've basically said in that episode, which we could talk about when we get to it, but I've said to the girls at the table, like, without apology, I've been like, I'm not going to be seeing you guys as much because I have to go hang out with my married friends. Which is so rude. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, Charlotte, gosh. And they're like, oh, okay. Whatever. They're like, wait, how does that help you find a husband? And I said, because they know people. The husbands know nice guys.
Yeah.
And you have to meet the husband's friends.
Yeah.
So then I go to the friend of my husband who you've never seen these people before, right? Like now with social media, the way they dissect it and just like that, sometimes when I'm looking at Sex and the City, I'm like, see, they would complain about that.
People know everything.
My God.
Yeah. It's true for
daunting.
Twin Peaks, too, for Twin Peaks. And I'm like, I don't even remember doing that. You know, and it's like,
exactly.
They're like, oh, you did this. And I'm like, oh my God.
Okay. I know, but I mean, like, it's kind of impossible in a way to withstand the, you know, anyway.
Yeah.
Like when I look back, like, also Miranda has a cat and previously she's never had a cat. And then Steve gets a dog. Yeah. And then Miranda has a cat and Steve has a dog. And they there's no mention. It's really odd.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But the cat's going to be important because she's going to have the I'm going to die alone and the cat's going to eat my face storyline. So I can see that they're prepping the next storyline. Yeah. But like nowadays, if you did that, the internet would be up in arms like, Miranda never had a cat. Where did that cat come from?
That doesn't make sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but back then, we just did it.
Yeah.
Every week, we just did our stuff. We didn't worry about it.
No. And that was the beauty of it. And I think, you know, just going back to speak about the directors and how each one was different and brings a different sensibility and a different energy on set.
Yeah.
And a different style.
Yes.
Which was, and the show was strong enough to handle all these different interpretations.
So
kind of,
true.
I mean, they weren't completely interpretations, but.
No, but they kind of
just,
were.
You know, the way the camera was used. And it's such a fun thing. I remember on Twin Peaks, the same thing, that they would bring in guest directors and they always had a different, you know, kind of a different take on things, a different rhythm, different energy. And it was always interesting. I remember Uli Adele came in and directed. And he was
amazing.
At that time. And I initially was sort of rankling at him and then I sort of settled in, I relaxed. And he said, oh no, he's actually, because there's always that moment, that first day where you're like, you know, the trust.
Not sure.
Yeah.
Totally.
Am I going to let you sort of in here or am I going to like do my own thing? No.
And also I think as actors, you have to have the ability to do that.
Yeah. To express yourself and say what you need and what you're feeling and that this is important to you, you know.
Right. And cut to when we do the Tiffany's, we go, I had forgotten about the whole dinner.
Right.
You know, I go to have tea with you and Bunny and Franny is just so unbelievably great. Just
wonderful.
So great.
Yeah.
And she keeps putting her hand on you and trying to basically tell you that you don't know what you're doing or whatever, and you need to do what she's saying. And then you go, all righty. And I clock this whole thing.
Right.
So then we go out to dinner and I've been telling the girls like, oh, he's going to propose. I can tell, I can feel it. This is the one, this is it. And I do believe that Charlotte 100% means that. Like, it's not just her wanting to get married. Like, you are it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
decided.
saying? Like, there's no There's no like, I'm making this happen. It really happened for her. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's that moment when you pick me up off the street, and that's why they did it so beautifully.
Yeah, it was very romantic.
So we're there with Franny, right? And I'm like, that she gets him to do what she wants. That's so interesting. And then we're at dinner at whatever, I can't remember, Closer, some restaurant.
Right.
And you don't like your salad.
I remember, yes.
And I try it. I'm like, I'm going to try it. And I put my hand on you and I say, maybe you should try, the tomato and mozzarella or whatever.
Yes.
And you're like, alrighty. And I'm like, oh my God, it works.
Magic.
And I think there's some voiceover maybe. And then I just barrel right in there and I say, I think we should get married. And without a doubt, you're just like, alrighty. And you look away. And then I'm like, oh, and then I go to Carrie, and I didn't love my performance in this scene. I remember being stressed about it at the time, and I can't remember if it was Allison or if it's McDougal. I think it might be Allison.
Right.
I don't know that she is. The thing with Charlotte that I think was hard is that her stakes are so high for everything that you don't know how to modulate the scene sometimes.
Right.
And I know sometimes, even within just like that, like I would read it on the page and I would think like, this is like a regular group scene where Charlotte's just asking some questions. And then I'd get there and Michael Patrick would be like, yell at her. And I'd be like, what? Okay.
Okay, wasn't prepared for that. Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't understand. He said, you are the voice of reason in this scene. And she's being insane. And she's blowing up our marriage. You've got to yell at her.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit, I've got to yell at Miranda. Oh, my God. But I would, and he would be right?
Yeah.
But like sometimes it's hard to know, like, because she's so committed to all the things that she believes, and love.
It all
and,
seems at one
right. You don't
level,
know which is up like 100% and which is 150%, which is 50%, right?
Yeah.
So that scene with Carrie, when I go and I'm like all shocked, I'm like playing shock, which is also kind of hard for a whole scene, right?
Yeah.
And I've got my eyes are all like super big and I'm like, I proposed to myself, like that, right? And she's like, oh, baby, she's very motherly, which is sweet. And then like there's no ring and he didn't get down on his knees or anything.
Right.
What did I do? Because I think I've ruined like my one and only
moment,
right? Which I kind of did because I'm so like hell bent on this happening.
Yeah.
But then the payoff comes the next episode, which is when McDougal directed. And I don't know if you remember, he would put the camera like blocks away.
Right.
We're on Fifth Avenue.
Yes, I remember.
And we don't even know if we're in.
Yeah.
And it's real people.
People are walking by and we're there trying to do a little scene.
Totally. Yeah. And he's like, just walk. It'll be fine. He's British. I didn't do his accent well. But he's like, just walk. It'll be good. And we're like, I'm like, oh, but I need to know my mark. And you were cool as a cucumber, having been through, been in all the films you've been in and everything. I was
just pretending. That was all. I was just pretending.
But you were pretending very well. But it was really so great because we walked down and I've got the little bow and I've got kind of the Audrey Hepburn-esque hairdo. Yeah. And we walked down to the corner of Tiffany's and somehow you just sense that I'm upset. I'm like pouting. Right. And then we get to the window and it's so beautifully framed. They go inside and they frame us in the window. Yeah. And you say, how about we go in there and get you the best engagement ring there is? And I'm like, he is
I remember
perfect.
That. It was really fun.
It was so good.
And also I'm just remembering shooting in New York.
So
shooting
much
in the
fun.
Streets of New York.
Yeah.
It was special. I'd never done that before. I'd been there we'd done the Doors and we'd come to New York for that. But that was interior and we weren't really in the city. But Sex and the City really used the city and really showed the city so well.
I agree.
Yeah, so
I
beautiful.
agree so well, especially in the olden days because we had not enough time. So we would like take the lights and like roll them down the street. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
It was like kind of guerrilla-ish filmmaking. Yeah. But then by the time Charles came, because Charles would do like, we also shot in Bergdorf with the china, and we had to flip the china, and he had a crane in Bergdorf, and we had like 36 takes of the crane shot to flip the china, which was insane.
What the hell?
And like at a certain point, the HBO guy would come and like glare at us, like, you guys are over budget.
Yeah, Charles was definitely OCD. It was one of those, it's like, it's got to be perfect. And we're like, it's pretty close. So I think we're okay, right?
But he was just so talented.
Yeah.
I was always like, do whatever the man says.
Yeah.
It's great.
I really liked him.
God, so did I.
He was unusual, but so cool.
So cool. So cool.
Always wore a suit.
And he always wore a suit.
When he
directed,
looked
very posh.
Yep.
Very posh. We were lucky to have him. All right. Kyle,
Yeah.
You're too much fun, and we're going to have to keep talking.
Oh, good.
Can we come back and do part 2?
Oh, it would be my pleasure.
Fantastic.
I was hoping you'd ask.
All right, you guys, come back later in the week, and we're going to continue on talking about Trey and Charlotte moments and how we remember them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Kyle.